Hello and welcome to today's section on successful living. With me here, I have um, a, a powerful doctor, a powerful personality. We'll get to meet her when she talks. But before I begin, of course, we know that Successful Living Talk Show has been brought to us by IIU. And IIU is an international internship university, which is a leading virtual education system and global brand confederation. Is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well-reputed in delivering innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality training programs and is committed to providing better and virtual education to all the young learners of the globe, like what we are going to be having now. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Peyush Pandit, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. Now, don't forget that I also mentioned that we have a very important guest today, and I will be introducing her, but before I do, I want to read her profile. We have Dr. Kasturi R Naik. Pardon me, ma'am, if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly.
You have done it perfectly.
Thank you. She's a visiting faculty, B schools, author, researcher, L&D consultant, life coach, specialized in emotional intelligence. Dr. Naik is known for real-time, forthright solutions to complex people's problems. She knows the difference between passion, profession, and that has made all the difference to the way she lives her life. She has more than 11 years of academic experience and 5 years of consultancy experience in the fields of human resource management, leadership, and team building. She has been associated as a visiting faculty at JBIMS and GNIMS for MHRD and EMBA courses. She has also been associated with V Mentorai as a mentor and learning and development consultant. Dr. Naik is the recipient of multiple national and international awards and accolades for her enriching work in the field of emotional intelligence, personality enhancement, stress management, and leadership development. Our research capabilities are self-proven through the 30 research papers that she has published nationally and internationally, out of which she got the Best Paper Awards in a couple of conferences, as well as also been honored to play a role of discussant and section chair in national and international conferences, and also won Best Paper Track Presenter Award at ABRM International Conference 2015, beside Best Paper Award at IMRC 2016. All our sections are backed by a lot of research, reading, and introspection. Our teaching interest includes OB, HRM, performance and competency management, learning and development, leadership, and team building strategic HRM. So you see that we have a very powerful personality in our midst today. However, we'll be asking some questions so that she share more insight on how she has been doing all of these things successfully, because all of these things that we have mentioned, especially the fact that she's dealing with people, and we know how difficult people can be. And then she's not just dealing with people, the complex problems that they have is what she even understands the most. Emotional intelligence is her niche. So we are going to be having a discussion with her today, and I'm sure, of course, you trust IIU. We bring up the best of the best personality on board. So good day once again, Doctor. Can you tell us more about your background and how you became a life coach that is specialized in emotional intelligence?
Yes. So, Miss Sudha, first and foremost, thanks for that brief introduction which you gave. Thanks to IIU for the platform, Mr. Piyush Pandit sir, and Irmi who is here. It was a wonderful surprise to have her. And so about my background and why emotional intelligence. So uh, my background is I come from, I have done my graduation in pharmaceutical sciences. And that I solely did for my mother to keep her happy that I have done what she wanted me to do, a 4-year course in B.Pharm. And then I thought I need to make myself happy. And so I did my management studies, and there I, ventured into human resource management because 1 year internship I have done as a HR consultant, and it actually helped me understand more about people, and I liked whatever I was doing. And after human resource management as a PG course, I dwelt into my PhD. Now, as I dwelt into my PhD, that was one of the professional requirement how it happened, but then I realized it was not solely a professional requirement, but there was a need in the industry, there was a need at the educational institutes to understand the right blend of psychological safety and performance management and performance timelines, because my PhD was in stress management. So that is the journey. So during PhD, one after the other, the certifications started happening because I saw that there is this issue and this can be a recommendation. And I thought, why not be certified so that even I will be able to cater to provide a platform to solve that particular issue. So that way, my EI certification, NLP certification, life coaching, everything happened. So the main theme was psychological safety, and along with that, if I want my performance in the organization to evolve, if my psychological safety is not there and I only give performance pressure, it will not happen. That was one of the outcome of my research. So to create a learning zone, I need to balance both. So that is the way the journey initiated to the other things like EI and life
Uh,
coaching.
okay, thank you so much, Doctor. That part you said that you did B-Farm in the school for your mom really got me, because I know how parents can be. Even then, those days, this is what I want you to go and do in the school, and that's all. But I'm happy to hear that you're living your life. I mean, you're doing what you find joy in doing. That's quite a lot. We appreciate that a lot. So what you've written so many papers, you've even gotten an award for your research and all that. So what inspired your research capabilities?
So like I said, the first reason why I ventured into research was it was totally for a professional requirement. But later on, as I started moving ahead with the different certifications, it was a real-time need. Like my PhD guide used to always tell me, do not allow your research or your PhD to just stay in the library. Let it come alive. And that is where I saw the real-time problems which are happening in the corporate world, in the educational fields, and those problems as well as opportunities which could be encashed if those issues and those challenges are solved. Because I always believe where there is a challenge or where there is a problem, there is an opportunity which can be encashed. So that is where it inspired me of connecting the research and more applied research, where whatever research is there, whatever conceptual understanding is there, how can you apply it to a real-time scenario so that you can come up with the real-time solutions to deal with those scenarios. So that is how this happened. And one thing I would like to share here, that at present I am researching into leadership. That is one of my interest area. And in leadership, one of the question which I am asking, and that connects me back to Nigeria, the overall values which your place Nigeria has: kindness, compassion, dignity of labor. So that question is something which I am, trying to understand: multi-generational, multicultural dimensions, and how do we build leaders who are ready to create second line of leaders, starting from school education to college to the corporates. So that is something which I'm, trying to understand now in the research domain.
Oh, that's quite a lot. Sometimes leaders, they don't really pay attention to themselves. Where you work, the people you're managing. However, as a leader too, you need to pay attention to yourself. And that's what you're obviously out to help us to achieve. That's very great. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, so you have experience as a life coach, as an author, a researcher, and all. How does all of these things contribute to your career?
Oh, so my first and foremost is like I'm wearing different hats at present. So first and foremost is the hat of the educator, which I wear. So life coaching and all the other certifications like EI, NLP, so they align at one particular point where I am able to act as a skilled observer or a skilled consultant in my capacity as an educator or as a life coach or also as a researcher. So I am able to give that environment where people, like, because like you rightly mentioned, managing people or
Mhm.
understanding individuals, it starts with understanding yourself. So these all certifications have gave me that kind of maturity of understanding my own self and understanding that wherever I am, I also have a power of acting as an emotional thermostat. It can be a power also, or it can be something which is destructive also. So that realization itself is helping me a lot in providing the right environment. And if I have to give a metaphor, I give it a metaphor of being a gardener. Like, you just have to act as a skilled observer in the capacity of an educator, in the capacity of a life coach, in a capacity of a EI practitioner, and give the right tools, techniques, resources. And then a gardener can just be calm and patient and allow that particular seed to bloom. Uh, Beyond providing the fertilizers, earth, and the water, gardener can't do anything. So that realization, uh, I'm in the process of that realization.
So, in a nutshell, self-realization is
Yeah.
enough inspiration for you want to go overboard. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Self-realization.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, can you describe some of the research you've made? As an award winner of research work. So, kindly describe some of the research you've made, maybe the one that even got you the award.
Okay. So first, my PhD was in stress management, and in stress management, it was departmental stores, the frontline employees, or we also call them at people at the edge, who are directly interacting with the customers. So that was my major topic of my PhD. And I studied role conflict, role ambiguity, and the impact of that on their performance and store productivity. So that was my first part. But I would like to share here with you, Ms. Sola, that once I did that, I came to a point where I think stress management is a myth. And I came to understand that happiness management is more important because that leads to more creativity than managing something which I don't want. So then happiness management, who is the person then? It is the leader in the organization who can give collective leadership as one of the important, practice in the organization. Then, so from stress management, it went to leadership. So then in leadership, I ventured into how is the leadership in MNCs, startups, leadership when it comes to family managed business and different diverse. So two focus was there. One was multi-generational leadership and second was multicultural leadership. So that was something I started venturing into. And now, post pandemic, there is one more area, organization bricolage. So, this is how do you use the resources which are already available with the organization in a mindful manner. That is what is organization bricolage. And how a leader can be an active part in this entire management of resources. So that is something which I'm trying to understand when it comes to, research and the topics which I'm trying to venture into.
Okay, doctor, thank you very much. As a woman, we have a lot of responsibilities to run the home, your career, and the likes. The society has a way of making women feel that you have more to do now when you combine career with it. So, how do you balance running your home and career?
So this question again, like, a balance between work and life. And many of the girl students also whom I cater to, they also ask me like, ma'am, how do we balance this, work and life? So I, first and foremost, what is my philosophy or what I believe is we need to have work-life empowerment and not work-life balance. So when we say work-life balance, I feel like I'm putting my work out of my life and then I'm trying to balance the two. But when I say work-life empowerment, I have a belief that my work is a continuous part of my life and it is also adding to my personal and professional growth and it is my identity. So I don't separate my life from my work. That is one thing, but it should not sound too philosophical. So to make it more simple, what do I do is, suppose I have 15 things on my platter and I know how to do all those 15 things. I enjoy doing all those 15 things, but God has given us only 24 hours in a day. So then, I just check 2 or 3 priority things where I need to do it, and other 12 things can it be delegated. And for that, I need to tell you, Miss Sola, that we need an understanding family also, and I'm blessed with one. I'm blessed with an understanding mother-in-law, understanding husband, understanding mom. So that is, so they also help me when I make a choice of this delegation. So that support systems are required. So that is how these things, and giving up on feeling guilty when you're not doing all those 15 things, that is also very important. So whatever 2 3 things are there at hand, managing it, doing it, and then just letting other things be taken care. So for other 12 things, if I have to delegate, I need to be happy. So when I keep a maid at home, I always tell myself that I need to be happy that because I'm spending that time somewhere else. And when I have a maid at home, that maid or that help is, I'm also helping her to, make her home sustainable because she's one of the helper at my home. So that kind of empowering dialogue helps to balance and to empower work and life. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. I asked the question because, of course, we know how Indian is, the large family setting, and then we have something similar to what you have in Nigeria. And I'm sure quite a number of people too. If you cherish your family, they need your attention, you have to do a lot of things. And at the same time, you are chasing your career. So what you have told us is this: you are ventured into stress management, even happiness management, leadership. Leadership is learning how to manage, making everything work together for good. Now, if you run a home as a woman, you do all of these things, you should be able to manage your home properly, even with what you're doing, what you said you're doing, and everything is just falling in line. Well done, doctor. You're really doing great, and I really appreciate you. Okay, so I'll be asking you again, what advice do you have for young people who are trying to discover their passions and career paths?
Okay. So one thing, like when this question has come to me, I would share what I did when I was young and what advice I got from one of my mentor, my college mentor. He used to always tell me that you can either be a fighter or a warrior in your life. Okay. So because your career is something which will have ups and downs. It is not going to be a straight line and you plan something and you get it. So a fighter is somebody who gets into successes and failures and rights and wrongs and keeps on cribbing and victim mode. And a warrior is somebody who always says, I have success or I have a learning. So whatever I'm doing, there will be a success. And if not success, I will learn something out of whatever happened. So that mindset is very important for the youth to develop. Be a warrior, don't be a fighter, because when you be a fighter you waste lot of your energy in sitting and wanting somebody else to do something so that your life will change. So first advice is that be a warrior, believe in success or learning. And second is agile is something which is very popular nowadays, and many of the organizations are also working on agile culture. So Agile Manifesto is talking about two important values. And I was going through Nigeria as a country and their value systems also, and Agile matches that. And Agile is the best way to run your career, my dear youth who are listening to this. First is individuals and interactions over processes. Meeting people, interacting with people with an intention of learning. Every project should not be every project should not be something where I'm executing it as a task. No, it should be something where I'm knowing the person and that person is with a heart and mind intact. That will make career blossom like anything. Individuals and interactions over processes. And second thing is responding to change over plans. Plans will be there, they have to be there. If plans are not there, there will be confusion. So I need to know that I have to go from A to B. That is a plan, okay? I'm sitting at A, I need to go to B. But now, how do I go to B? I have to respond to change. Do I go by a car? Do I go by a auto rickshaw? Do I go by a plane? That all depends upon the resources. That all depends upon the kind of environment, context, and the my ability, my capability. That understanding when you're evolving your career is very important. Third,
Mm,
but not the least, is your focus. Being focused, understanding the dot in the horizon, understanding the North Star of your career, and just doing it again and again and again so that you can be consistently following that North Star and believing in yourself. So this is going to actually help you enjoy your career. That is all I want to say, and make it more meaningful.
mm. Thank you very much for that advice. Thank you very much for that advice, especially the first one that you said. When you meet people, be intentional about learning, be open-minded, want to learn, the desire to learn. It's a very great one there. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so how do you approach helping people with their complex problem? Now we are going into what you say you do.
Mm.
When we started, I mentioned that people
Mm.
can be very, very difficult to manage, right?
Absolutely.
And then you're not just managing, it's a different thing if you come to work and say, let's just manage and go. But you
Mhm.
are managing their complex problems.
Mm.
So how do you approach helping the people with their complex problems? How
Yes.
do you
So
do that?
Hmm. One thing is, whenever there is a complex problem and whenever that discussion is happening, be it with an individual, be it with a team, or be it with multiple teams. Okay. The one thing in my mind is, even though I can see the solutions, you cannot give solutions to people, because unless and until, even me, if somebody tells me to do something, I will not do it unless and until I believe it is good for me, it is right for me. Because we all have our perceptions which need to be respected. So that one clarity I have kept in my mind when there is any kind of complexity and the complex problems involved. Okay. So we all are in a VUCA world, and there is one important philosophy which I follow: self-management and self-direction. And to bring in this self-management and self-direction, there are certain tools and techniques which needs to be incorporated. So the first tool which is generally used when such conversations happen is reflective listening. And that reflective listening is when I'm sitting and when I'm listening to that individual, no judgments, no biases from my side. When I'm sitting and listening to that individual or to that team, no poking, no giving my interpretations of that particular, context, just listening, reflective listening. That's it. That is the first very important element, which helps a lot to create an energy of trust. So that's first. Second thing is then empathetic questioning. After the reflective listening has happened, there is something like empathetic questioning, asking the right questions at the right time, which is possible only after reflective listening. If we do not listen reflectively, empathetic questioning does not generally happen. So asking those set of empathy questions to the individuals, to the teams, to the organizations, and most of the times when those questions are asked, roadmaps, policies, everything falls in place. But suppose still it is not happening. So after reflective listening, it is not happening. Empathetic question, it is not happening. The third thing which I bring into practice is real-time case studies which are similar to the solutions which can be implied, but not telling them that this is your solution. Sharing that. Sharing the real-time cases, stories. I believe strongly in the concept of human libraries, where real-time contextual than the concepts, because concepts are there in the books, but when we share the real-time cases of the things which have happened and how that has helped in the evolvement and in the growth of the individual or the team or the organization, that has helped a lot in the process of this complex problem solving. And for all this to happen, for reflective listening to happen, for empathetic questioning to happen, and for the real-time case sharing to happen, one thing which I always do is keep my ego at the door, because that is very important. So loss of ego. When if I am acting as a facilitator or as a coach, that is very important for me. Loss of ego.
This is a lot that we are learning today, and we are just picking your brain, Doctor. Thank you.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Effective listening, effective, then asking the right questions. Yes. Even empathy, try working, feeling what people are. So all of those things we could help to solve complex problems that people might be going through. So that's a lot going there. So how do you stay up to date with the latest trends and issues? You know that every time the world is changing, we have issues, economic problem with the country, issues you can't even imagine that comes with the time. So how do you stay up to date with the latest trend and issues affecting people today?
Yes. So for that, I follow one author, Jin Quick, and he has given a book. If the young people are listening, this is a wonderful book for young professionals to read. Mindset, Motivation, and Method.
Mm.
So for me,
My,
what has worked, I'll repeat again, mindset, motivation, and method. This
mm,
book is written by Jim Quick. So wonderful book for being updated with the current trends and being updated with agile, being an agile learner, a learner who learns the important, tricks of how a thing needs to be done. So we call it a smart work. So where we know what is practically happening and how we can act as an asset wherever we are by being updated with the practical things happening around us. So
mm,
that open mindset, like you also mentioned, Ms. Sola, open mindset is something which is very essential if you want to be an asset wherever you are and not a liability as a human being also. So that is one thing. Second is a motivation. And when I say motivation, it is not only affirming something positively, but taking actions, being inspired to get up and do something, to follow a particular, trend and to act on it. And the third is the right method, so being aware of that right methods. So for mindset and motivation, of course, mentoring, coaching helps a lot in the process. And you do not need somebody who is an external mentor also. Sometimes even a book can be your mentor, even a
mm,
YouTube channel where you have, so for example, for me, I do follow, Oprah. I do follow Sudha Murthy. I do follow Swami Vivekanand, depending upon what are my moods and what are my needs of my mind. So that can be your mentor. Social media has opened up constructively so many mentors for mindset and motivation to keep that in trend, because we what is being in trend for mindset and motivation, it is being optimistic and it is being inspired. And for methods, I in short is one of the app which I have downloaded on my mobile phone. It helps me to stay updated with the news, especially the HR news, because I belong to the HR domain. Google News is one of the app which is there with me. Different YouTube channels like AI HR and Human Library People. So every week I make it a point that I interact with two strangers, either online or offline, in my domain, so that I know I meet people, I understand their perspective. It helps me build my mental agility. So that is also something which works well with me. Like every week, at least two strangers, I go, I interact, I see what is the common things between us, what are the things of difference of opinions which we have, the reason behind it. So that helps me to be updated in the work which I do.
mm. It is very important that we stay up to date, otherwise we would not be relevant again in what we do. I mean, we will not be able to provide the solutions that people really need. So thank you for that heads up, ma'am. Now, can you describe a particularly challenging experience you've had working with anyone with a difficult challenge?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the reason, Miss Sola, thanks for this question. Because
Mm.
the reason why I ventured into the journey of EI, into the journey of understanding leadership, was because of certain personal as well as certain experiences which were shared by my professional circles and my personal circles also. So yes, I have been ventured into difficult situations, difficult individuals in my life, and I would not name any of them, of course, but I would like to
Definitely.
state the personality traits, so that it would be easier for the listeners who are here with us to, because I took a lot of time to understand. One of the personality I understood after nearly 6 years, that okay, I was dealing with a difficult personality. I didn't knew, and because I didn't knew that this is a difficult personality trait, I lost my 6 years and my precious time. But I would say I didn't lost it, but I evolved in the process of interacting with that person. So the trait was aggressor. So one of the trait which I had dealt with a aggressor, and it was actually very draining when it comes to energy. And sign of an aggressor, which I understood was zero self-awareness. So whatever, logical points I used to state across, I used to have assertive communication. There was zero self-awareness, and my energy was getting exhausted in that entire process. Second trait which I, again had dealt with was a dependent. And for a dependent, it was always, I used to give solutions, and that solutions were well accepted during that particular time. But after a week or after 2 weeks, that person used to come back to me and share with me why that solution was not working and how that solution was bad. So that made me understand I cannot give solutions to anybody. I can just ask questions, and I can make them reach whatever solutions they want to reach. And because it's a choice, right? And every choice will have a reaction and an action. And that made me also realize that nobody else can give me a solution when I have a problem. It's me who has, I can just take guidance. I can just learn from others, but my life I have to implement and I have to bear the repercussions. And so after aggressor and dependent, the third challenging individual which I have dealt with was a whiner, or I can, just when I analyze the personality deeper, it is like a chronic complainer. So I have dealt with such kind of personality also. And one of the important core belief of this chronic complainer used to be that entire world is behind me and entire world wants to take advantage of me. So that was one of the very core belief of this chronic complainer. And again, here I understood all the three personalities. There was one commonality, draining off of the energy whenever the interactions used to happen. And you cannot, in all these challenging situations, I was not able to like give solution, wasted my time because I wanted to give solution and I wanted that to change the person. So one more learning to my dear young listeners, as well as the professionals, you can only change one person on this planet Earth, and that is you. You cannot change anybody else. So that's the fact. So you can just change yourself, and you can give an environment to other people, by providing the resources, tools, and techniques, and then others evolve and grow in the process. So that was the experience which I had.
Fantastic. You're doing well, doctor. Everybody, including myself, you don't even know, maybe when we interact properly, the kind of complex challenge that I will have as a person that you might want to help me overcome and all of that. People have, the fact is that just acknowledge that you have a challenge and you need help. That way it will be much easier. Thank you for looking into that. Thank you for looking out for people, because we really don't have much people doing that. So it's a noble one. Okay, so what are some common misconceptions people have about emotional intelligence? Every time you hear emotional intelligence, this is emotional. So what are some misconceptions that people have about emotional intelligence? Yeah.
So I will share three, which are top three misconceptions I have heard in my journey of being an EI practitioner. First is high IQ is equal to high EQ. So if you are a logical person, which means you are having a very high IQ, analytically you are very great, it will give a guarantee that you have a high EQ. That is not the scenario. You can be a very good analytical person. You can be an excellent person with great logic, but that does not make you a person having a high EQ, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is different from IQ. And that understanding is important, because when we make promotional decisions to promote an individual, or decisions within the corporate world to appoint a leader We appoint on the IQ basis and we forget the EQ. And EQ is very essential when you are handling people. So that is a first misconception. Second misconception when it comes to emotional intelligence is that people who are extrovert, who are outspoken, who are charismatic have good level of emotional intelligence. That is not the scenario. Introverts can also be excellent in managing people and they can have good level of emotional intelligence according to research. Extroverts are the people who get their energy from talking to others. Introverts get their energy from themselves. That's the only difference. And the third important point, which I would like to make, which is a differentiating point, is emotional intelligence. When you, build the emotional intelligence of the people, it is only about feelings. No, emotional intelligence is not only about feelings. There are more elements which are attached to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not only about your heart, it is also about your heart and mind, both integrated. Just to simplify, emotional intelligence is when the conditions around you are turbulent, when the situations around you are difficult, how do you retain your emotional balance in a manner? How do you keep your emotions intact, focused, so that you retain your decision-making capability? So that is what is EQ all about. So these three things, high IQ does not guarantee EQ. Charisma does not guarantee EQ. Being an extrovert, because first impressions generally fail because of that. When we interview and all, that's not the fact. Team player can be an introvert person also, who knows when to step in and step back properly. And the third thing is, when you have EQ, it is always about feelings and all. No, it is not always about feelings. There is beyond it. It is about decision making. It is about conflict management. It is about your leadership skills. There are many things attached to emotional intelligence.
Thank you very much, Ma. So people that are watching should know that emotional intelligence shouldn't be used to blackmail people to doing what you want them to do. So, some people would say that your emotional intelligence level is low, but that's not what it is. It's not about feelings. It's not about all of those things. It's about decision making, know when to move, know when to step back without bringing emotions into all of these things. Thank you very much. Controlling your emotions, that will also help.
I appreciate what you said, blackmailing people. That's a wonderful, I'm going to use this now. That's a wonderful thing which you have mentioned. And that is one of the myth. If you do not always give up, like, you're not always welcoming, it means you have a low EQ. That's not the fact. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are very fond of so many things. You know the way people can be.
Mm.
Okay, doctor, we are asking so much, and I hope that, like I said, we are trying to pick your brain. But thank you. You have been doing so well. Thank you. So I am a leader that I need to build my emotional intelligence skills. How can you help me now to build that skills?
Can you repeat the question?
As
You
a
are a
leader, as a
Mm-hmm.
leader, I'm a
Huh?
leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so emotional intelligence is needed for decision making and the
Yes.
likes, is
Mm-hmm.
leadership. So
Yes.
how can you help me develop? What are the steps or what do I need to do
Ah,
to develop
right.
emotional intelligence skills? Yes.
Yes. So there are four things which are involved when you need to develop your emotional intelligence. Or like Dr. Karen, Dr. Shri Kumar Rao, even Emily Edmondson, and her research states that before you go to build your relationship with the team members and start with your, conflict management and decision making and all, first step is self-awareness. As a leader, you need to be aware of your own self. There are four important emotions which, as a leader, I need to be very aware of. And These can be disempowering emotions like anger, guilt, criticism, and sadness. These are the four emotions which can be disempowering. I will not call them negative. They are important part of our human life, but they are disempowering. That is, they take away energy from us and our team. So as a leader, I need to be aware of them, that these are the four emotions which can disempower my team. Then I need to know how do I manage these emotions then. So what do I do when I get angry? What do I do when I have criticism as one of the trait? I need to have a understanding of how do I control it so that I do not overflow it in my meetings. I do not overflow it when I'm taking a very important critical business decision. Because as a leader, I can never say I will never have those emotions. Come on, I will have it. I'm a human being. I cannot become a machine. I need to be very much in connect with my emotions. That is a strength. Emotions are your strengths. But only thing is I need to have a radar to keep in track my anger, to keep in track my, criticism, my guilt. And then when I'm able to self-manage these emotions, these four emotions which I told you, then I go to social awareness slowly and steadily. Now I am ready for, so I am first is, we say something like cognitive dissonance within our own self, our intrapersonal conflict. So once I'm able to deal with my intrapersonal conflict or the conflict which I have within myself by handling self-awareness and self-management, now I go ahead to have dialogue with my team, that is social awareness. Now I'm ready to understand others. Now I'm ready to, have a dialogue with somebody who is having a conflict. I'm ready to have interdepartmental dialogues. That is the third step, social awareness. And this automatically leads to relationship management. This automatically makes me empathetic. And I don't remember. So when Emmy Edmondson's thing, says that psychological safety is too high when you're too much feeling leader, and it becomes a vacation trip for your entire organization. Everybody is on vacation, everybody is happy, but productivity is not there. That we don't. We want learning zone. So when a leader is able to be aware of himself, able to control himself, he'll be able to have social awareness of his teams and use the teams in a positive way, in a transformational way, not manipulate the team members with right kind of empowering dialogue so that results come, productivity happens. And just to conclude on this leadership, there is a very important article which I read, Miss Sola, and it talked about leader, a true leader who is a authentic leader. I will not call ethical, because ethical again is a very subjective term, and defining ethics is not that easy. I would not say impossible, but not that easy. But I believe and I love more of authenticity, authentic leader. So that kind of leader uses a window and mirror approach. So whenever there is a success in my team and I am a leader, I open the window and I see who can be given the credit to. I see that, okay, who is the person because of which this success happened. But suppose if my team is not able to meet a particular target, it is not able to accomplish that project on time, I see a mirror and I ask myself, what could I have done better as a leader? So that is what is then using emotional intelligence on the ground, and not only in the vision and the mission statements which are hanging on the wall. So that's it.
Thank you so much. So you mentioned control, self-awareness, social
Awareness.
social awareness, self-control, realization, no, self-awareness, I'm correct.
Self-aware. Yes.
Self-control, social awareness, and then dialogue. And also your mirror and your window approach is something I'm taking off today. So, Doctor, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you. Personally, I have gained value from having this interaction with you, a lot of value. And I'm sure the viewers too have gained one or two things from today's talk show. We really appreciate you on behalf of IIU Emmy and myself and the viewers, we say a huge thank you for your time. Thank you and God bless you. Yeah. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Thank you and bye for now.
Thank you.